Good morning. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry, we're a minute late. I was actually going live on another tab. Oh, no, cancel that. Actually, it's still trying to go live on the other tab. So I'm not really sure what's going on tech-wise here. Thank you guys for being here. If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends upon money, you will never be happy with yourself. So today we're talking about non-attainment. And this is a major theme through many religious and philosophical types of belief systems and practices, etc. This thing about no attainment or no desire, you see it everywhere, right? And at first glance, it can be taken two ways, right? Either as this sense of selflessness, where you almost become like a doormat, right? This seemingly, I will be good or get into heaven or considered saintly if I don't think of the self, if I serve others. That's one way that this no attainment or no desire can be interpreted. The other is that, if you're seeking elsewhere, as this says, if you look to others or other things for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. What they're getting at is this sense of insatiability, right? That will never be fulfilled as long as we look outward. And, if you have like a brain and they say, there's nothing to attain, there's no attainment, there's no gain, there's no loss. And in all these texts, especially in Buddhism, constantly you hear about no gain, no loss. Yet, if you wake up in the middle of the night and can't sleep, you could say, I lost 3 hours of sleep. It's graduation season, middle school, high school, college, grad school, you've just gained a diploma, right? And you achieve something, right? You get a new book and you learn. I just finished the book Breathe. Highly recommend it. I attain knowledge about better breathing patterns and habits that I can now train myself in. And as I train myself in, I will gain a new habit or a new pattern, right? So how could there be no gain and no loss when there's clearly gain and loss, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What I just read from you, if you look to others for fulfillment, etc., that's chapter 44 of the Tao. But right now we're going to go to chapter 72, because this gets right to the heart of why there is no gain and no loss. And this is in the description below these readings, so at least parts of them. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing that you will try to hold on to. So what, at least from a Buddhist or a Taoist perspective, why they're preaching no attainment is because when you get quiet and intimate with reality, it becomes clear that you cannot attain a thing. You cannot gain anything, you cannot lose anything, because there is no thing to gain. This goes to a much larger topic that maybe we can talk about at some point if people are interested in, but the emptiness of all things. And the emptiness is because nothing exists in a permanent solid state. So again, nothing exists in a permanent solid state. Everything is moving and changing consistently, relentlessly. Movement and change is constant. Even death. If you think about the decaying, decomposing body, it's in a constant state of change, right? If anyone has a compost bin, right? What was once your fruit and your food, right? Whether you're composting it internally through your digestive system or externally in a bin where worms eat it or other microbes break things down, right? It becomes clear there is no life or death, right? It's just constant change, constant movement. So if things are always moving and changing, how can you have a thing, right? So I have a couple of notes on this little card, right? This was once tree. Someday it will be ash, right? It will decompose. The fractal of time that we're experiencing right now, from my perspective in my human form, this seems pretty solid and permanent. Even this book, which is totally in a state of decay, if you can look closely, it's held together by a lot of tape. It's still a book, and I've had this book for easily 10 or 15 years. Easily. What's the year on this one? Because so this book I've had for 9 years. This book I started in 2015. So 9 years, it's been a book for 9 years. So my fractal of perception, the fraction of time that I witness things, oh my God, the cuteness is too much. Yeah. Oh, are you going to flirt with us? Are you flirting with us? Yeah. Oh, you're so cute. Such a cute kid. Such a cute baby. Cat interlude. I mean, even the cat, right? In a constant state of moving and change, right? You can't have anything because everything that you think you can have is moving and changing, right? The way that I first really learned about emptiness was a great example that my teacher, Roshi Janet at Still Mind Zendo, gave a very, very long time ago on emptiness. She was giving a talk on the Heart Sutra, where we chant, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is exactly emptiness, emptiness is exactly form. This form is what emptiness is. What is emptiness? This form. Kitten kisses. This is emptiness. And the way she helped us to better understand it is the notion of 12 o'clock. Oh, I should have brought the clock with me. I have an old school clock. So if you think about an old school clock with the hands going around, and it has a second hand, if you get one of those really cool ones, they have like the two little dials at the bottom that have like even faster turning little hands, right? 12 o'clock is a concept, is a notion. And every day we apparently have a 12 o'clock. Right? It's going to happen in about 5 minutes. But there is no 12 o'clock. The hands never stop there long enough for it to be. It's already moving on. And if you go down to the smallest of fractals, it never happened. It's just constant movement. There is no 12 o'clock. In the same way that there is no cat, there is no Kirsten, there is no index card, there is no book. I can't have the index card or the cat or the book because the book that I think that I have has already begun to shift and change. So if you try to gain something, you're deluded. It's delusional, right? And that's why I actually like these wisdom teachings as opposed to like, oh, no desires, no this, that, or the other thing, because it's actually going into almost the science of reality. And it's fascinating to me that these wisdom figures figured out impermanence and change by simply getting still and quiet for long periods of time, looking inward, connecting to the breath. The reality that there's nothing to gain and nothing to lose became clear. And then they could walk through life in the midst of gain and loss without suffering because they're changing, they're gaining and losing with everything else. So if you realize that all things change, there's nothing you'll try to hold on to. If you realize that all things change, there's nothing you'll try to attain. If you realize that all things change, you'll realize there's nothing to lose because it too is already changing. You've already lost it because it never existed in the first place. Okay, that can make sense, right, on a certain level. But I did get the degree, or I did meet the love of my life, and then they died or they left, or I did have the cat, and then the cat died, right? I did have the house, but then it burnt down. There was gain, there was loss, right? If you're stuck in the mental idea of cat, house, love, loss, gain, well, then it seems as if you did. And this is the root of all suffering. This is why this teaching is important. This is how you use it in real life. When you're attached to something, you lose. This comes back to non-attachment, right? Because it's your attachment to the idea of the cat, of the house, of the degree that holds you, that binds you, that limits you. Your attachment to your idea of your spouse is what limits you, them, and the relationship. You don't know who they are. They don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. How could they know you? You don't know you. How could you know them? They don't know them. It's all delusion. All knowledge is delusion. All this stuff in this head, it's all delusion. It has a utility. It has a utility. So that's what I'm going to speak to next. So there is a utility to gain and loss, right? I know that if I sit every day, I just sit here and breathe, unmoving for at least 20 minutes a day. I know that I will gain a sense of calm and gravitas and inner peace. And I know that if I don't sit every day, I will feel more unhinged, right? Even if it's subtle and no one else can notice it, I will feel it, right? So while there is gain, there is no gain. Because also, I don't know that if I sit or don't sit, what the outcome may or may not be. It is an unknown, and that's such an important part of this. So I wanted to bring up a favorite chant of mine. In a monastic setting, or even just a lay zendo, like where I go, there's 4 to 5 different main types of practice. The main one that everyone knows is what we call sitting meditation, or zazen. You get in the position and you sit, you breathe. That's your sitting practice, not moving. Zazen. The next most commonly known practice is kinhin. That's walking meditation. So as you walk and you move, you practice maintaining your presence, your awareness, your breath. Zazen, sitting, meditating. Sit meditation. Kinhin, walking meditation. Daisan, that's teaching and talking meditation. It's a one-on-one meeting with a teacher where you exchange thoughts and ideas. It's also a form of meditation. If you're present to it, not attached, no gain, no loss, practicing, conversing without a goal, that's Daisan. The 4th is Samu, and this is work meditation. Now, before we do sitting, zazen, kinhin, all these things, there's almost always a chant that we do to set an intention and ground ourselves. And I wanted to share with you the chant that we chant, or the encouragements that are given before work practice. And work practice is you're going to clean the floor, you're going to wash the pans, you're going to scrub the toilet, but you're going to do it mindfully and present. So before we do work practice, and it could be, I'm going to write my book, I'm going to teach this class, this is my work practice right now, right? So what is said before work practice is these lovely lines. They're embedded in my heart because they're so great. Have a goal for your work. It is the catalyst for all action. Have a goal for your work, but have no achievement in sight. Let the action be the achievement. Have a goal for your work. It is the catalyst for all action. You can have goals. I want to be more calm. I want to be more grounded. I want to have more fun. I want a bigger house. Great, you can want it. And especially if that desire is coming from your grounded, anchored self and not some fear or want of the heart or some idea of failure or success from the mind, then that's like an integral desire, right? So if you're coming from this, oh, I really would love, a spacious, wide backyard with beautiful trees where I could sit and write and be with nature and also have friends over and enjoy and have community. It's a real desire. It's beautiful, right? Follow it, but without attachment to attaining that. Oh, you know what? Now, look, another job opportunity come up. I can save more money, or a great savings account opened up, or I learned about fire and I can start to save more money. And that can get me to a down payment. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to look for houses. But should I find one? Should I not? Should I get the offer and should I not? Keep moving. Keep moving, non-attachment. Have a goal for your work. It is the catalyst. Oh, I really, you can even say like with things like love or money or intelligence. Oh, I really want to learn this. Oh, I really want to get married. Oh, I really want to move to New Zealand, right? Like whatever things are. New Zealand is a dream of mine. Have a goal, but don't be attached to the achievement. Let's see what arises in you organically, what comes to you organically in the pursuit of holding, oh, I would love this, but I don't need it. Because when I get whatever that is, it's already changing. House is a great example. It's in constant state of decay and repair, right? This is non-attainment. So let's go back to chapter 44. If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be fulfilled. This is the other piece of it. Because things are always shifting and moving, if you look to them to fulfillment, they can't fulfill you. This is why, marriage and spouse is such a, that person can never fulfill you. They are not the answer. Right? Same with the house. Same with the job. Same with the money. As long as it's external, you're always going to need something more. So if you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be fulfilled. Now, there's a caveat to this. This gets really dirty. Because you can kind of get it with, marriage or money or like a big CEO title or, the cutest cat in the world, getting that. Actually, you're very handsome. He's handsome. I don't know that he's cute. He gives really dirty looks. Someday I will have an Instagram page for him because he has resting bitch face. It's kind of hilarious. But if you look to those things for fulfillment, we can kind of see that there's an externality to them. The caveat, it's equally dangerous if you're looking to meaning for fulfillment. If you look to purpose, you look to happiness for fulfillment. You look to success, you look to learning or experience for fulfillment, you will never be fulfilled because those things are still external. Fulfillment is now, in this moment, exactly as you are. Can I be fulfilled in this breath, this moment, this body? You can. That's why we practice. That's why we have the class on Thursdays. You have everything you need and more in this moment, right? If your happiness depends upon money or meaning or love or purpose or impact, success, happiness, you will never be happy with you. Because if my happiness depends on me having positive impact on the world, yeah, I'm never going to be happy. If my happiness depends on the love of another, it's always an inside job. Everything about life is all about you, continually turning it inward. And then this leads right into the next stanza, which brings all of this teaching together, which is not actually, I didn't put this below in the description. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are right now. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Okay. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. There's nothing lacking. There's war zones right now. My family just died. I'm lacking my family. How could you say there's nothing lacking? My house was just bombed. How could you say there's nothing lacking? How could nothing be lacking? Right? When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. This goes back to the first chapter of the Tao, and I don't know how much we've talked about it here. Maybe I'll do this for next week. But this goes back to the first Tao, the first chapter of the Tao. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The Tao, the name that can be named is not the eternal name. What this is pointing to, which is what all these wisdom teachers are pointing to, is when you get quiet and present enough, it becomes clear that you are the whole world. There's nothing lacking because you are everything. And actually, I know that we talked about this last week because I had a glass of water and I remember holding it up, right? If you look at the glass of water, it looks like one thing. But we know that there's many molecules that are all in one form separate, yet at the same part whole. If you go to the International Space Station and look at the Earth, it is one thing. Do I have anything here that's like a ball? No, I don't. It's one thing. I want something. See, there's my desires creeping in. Do I have anything that I can use for this example nearby? No, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. Okay, here we go. We got this. I got an eraser. All right. Looks like one eraser, right? It's one whole thing. No separation. If you look at the Earth from the International Space Station, it looks like this. Everything belongs to it. There's no separation, right? The separation is a concept of the limited human mind. And here's the thing. Within this eraser are very many separate, not just molecules, but electrons, protons, quarks. There is separation, but that separation is all whole. It's all one thing. And I can explain it to you, but I can't explain it to you. This is a felt sense that you get when you're quiet for a very long time, when you keep looking inward and just paying attention to the breath, noticing the thoughts. Oh, okay, you're there. That's interesting. Coming back to silent observation of your breath. You do this for long enough, the oneness is something you feel. Like, oh, I am this whole thing. That's how all these guys wrote this stuff. They felt it in their bones through a lot of practice, through a lot of silence. And when you feel it in your bones, you realize, like that line says, the whole world belongs to me because I am the whole world. There is no life and death because I am eternity. And my thinking mind will cut me off from that sense. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever gotten like a little cut on your finger or a splinter, but been so wound up in your brain that you didn't even notice it for like maybe hours? And then all of a sudden you might see blood on like a napkin and be like, where did that come from? It's like, oh, I'm cut. And then you feel it because now you're paying attention to it. Right? But when your mind is racing, you literally can't feel yourself bleeding. It's a very real thing, right? When your mind is taken over, you cannot feel that you are the whole thing. At least in my experience, you can't. Some people say with some of the psychedelics or ayahuasca and stuff like that, you get a momentary sense of it, you feel it. But that then goes away because the mind comes back over. The practice of these masters is relentless sitting every day, minimum 20 minutes a day. Which brings me to the next thing. There'll be no classes, possibly May 28th, but definitely the following week, the first week of June, there's absolutely no classes, and the last week of June as well, as I will be away on a 7-day silent retreat both weeks, right? I will be sitting in silence from 5:30 in the morning till 9:30 to 10 o'clock at night, all day, every day. And I will tell you, all of those profound senses of the one that I've had have been on day 3, 4, 5, 7 of one of these extended retreats. And not in the first 10 years that I was doing these extended retreats. I would say I only started to have that real feeling of it a good 10 years into doing many extended retreats a year. And then as I've cultivated it, it becomes progressively more and more of what I feel. But to this, it's still a work in progress, right? And you don't want to get rid of the mind. The mind is a tool. But you don't want to depend upon it either because it's limited. A hammer is a great tool, but you're not going to use it to cook a steak. Whatever. Maybe you're going to use it to pound a steak. I don't know, whatever. But you're not going to use it to sew a pillow. You can't see the pillows. They're over there. I'm not going to use a hammer to light a candle. Know when the tool's utility ends. Know when the utility of the mind ends. It's a tool. It has its utility. Know when to put it down. Know when to get quiet. And in order to do that, you must practice becoming quiet. And that's what we do on Thursday. So I hope that you can join me on Thursday. You can get the link there's a sign up on the description below. If you got my email today, you all already have the link for Thursday. I hope you can sit with us. It's just 15 minutes. Spend about 3 or 4 minutes walking into the silence, and then we sit together for 10 minutes. 11:45 to 12 every Thursday. I hope you can sit, because that's where the real magic happens. Not in my silly words that I'm sharing with you here. So, there's nothing to attain. You can't attain it. If you think you have, you're deluded. And more that's the source of suffering. Because as long as you're looking elsewhere, it's never going to be enough. Everything you're looking for is in here. And I know you hear that all the time, but it's in the silence of yourself. Sitting strong with you. Big love. Thank you guys for being here. And sit strong.